Hello, my name is Jisa, and I've been reading Shōbōgenzō, and we are on chapter 45, Bodhisatta-Shishobo, 4 elements of a Bodhisattva's social relations. 4 elements of a Bodhisattva's social relations. Bodhisatta means Bodhisattva, a person who is pursuing the Buddhist truth. Shi means 4, as in the number, and Shōbō means elements of social relations or methods for social relations. The 4 are dana, free giving, priya akhyana, kind speech, artha kaya, helpful conduct, and samana atthata, identity of purpose or cooperation. Buddhism puts great value on our actual conduct. For this reason, our conduct in relating to each other is a very important part of Buddhist life. In this chapter, Master Dōgen preaches that these 4 ways of behaving are the essence of Buddhist life. He explains the real meaning of Buddhism in terms of social relations. Okay. First is free giving, second is kind speech, third is helpful conduct, fourth is cooperation. Free giving means not being greedy. Not being greedy means not coveting. Not coveting means, in everyday language, not courting favour. Even if we rule the 4 continents, if we want to bestow the teaching of the right truth, we simply must not be greedy. That might mean, for example, donating treasures that are to be thrown away to people we do not know. When we offer flowers from distant mountains to the Tathagata, and when we donate treasures accumulated in our past life to living beings, whether the gift is dharma or material objects, in each case we are originally endowed with the virtue that accompanies free giving. There is a Buddhist principle that even if things are not our own, this does not hinder our free giving, and a gift is not to be hated for its small value, but its effect should be real. When we leave the truth to the truth, we attain the truth. When we attain the truth inevitably continues to be left to the truth. When possessions are left to be possessions, possessions inevitably turn into gifts. We give ourselves to ourselves, and we give the external world to the external world. The direct and indirect influences of this giving pervade far into the heavens above and through the human world, even reaching the wise and the sacred who have experienced the effect. The reason is that in becoming giver and receiver, the subject and object of giving are connected. This is why the Buddha says, when a person who gives comes into an assembly, others admire that person from the beginning. Remember, the mind of such a person is tacitly understood. Should we freely give even a single word or a single verse of Dharma, and it will become a good seed in this life and in other lives. We should freely give even a single penny or a single grass stalk of alms, and it will sprout a good root in this age and in other ages. Dharma can be a treasure, and material gifts can be Dharma. It may depend upon people's hopes and pleasures. Truly, the gift of a beard can regulate a person's mind. Gift of a beard alludes to the story that when an officer in the court of the Tang Emperor Taiso fell sick and needed the ashes from a beard for medicine, Taiso burnt his own beard and gave the ashes to the officer. Great. The gift of a beard can regulate a person's mind, and the service of sand can gain a throne. Tells the story of a child who was playing in the sand when the Buddha came on by an alms round. The child put an offering of sand into the Buddha's food bowl, and by virtue of his giving, he later became the king Ashoka. Such givers covet no reward, but just share according to their ability. To provide a boat or to build a bridge are free giving as the dana paramita. When we learn giving well, both receiving the body and giving up the body are free giving. Earning a living and doing productive work are originally nothing other than free giving. Leaving flowers to the wind and leaving birds to time may also be the meritorious conduct of free giving. Both givers and receivers should thoroughly learn the truth which certifies the great King Ashoka's being able to serve half a mango as an offering for hundreds of monks is as wide and great I'm going to do that sentence again. I've got to find out about half the mango. Represents the sound of the Sanskrit amra, which means mango. Both givers and receivers should thoroughly learn the truth which certifies that great King Ashoka's being able to serve half a mango as an offering for hundreds of monks is a wide and great service of offerings. I see, it's in the next thing. King Asoka is said to have become the ruler of vast India Empire 218 years after the Buddha's death and to have reigned from 269 to 232 BC, converting many people to Buddhism. He had edicts in local languages carved on rocks and specially erected pillars throughout his empire. King Ashoka also sponsored the third council held in Patna in 235 BC, during which the Abhidharma, the commentaries, were added to the existing Theravada canon of Vijnana and Sutra. Vinaya, precepts, and Sutra, discourses. We should not only muster the energy of our body, but should also take care not to overlook suitable opportunities. Truly, it is because we are originally equipped with the virtue of free giving that we have received ourselves as we are now. The Buddha says, it is possible to receive and to use giving even if the object is oneself, and it is all the easier to give to parents, wives, and children. Clearly, to practice it by oneself is one kind of free giving, and to give to parents, wives, and children may also be free giving. When we can give up even one speck of dust for free giving, though it is our own act, we will quietly rejoice in it, because we will have already received the authentic transmission of one of the virtues of the Buddhas, and because for the first time we will be practicing one of the methods of a Bodhisattva. What is hard to change is the mind of living beings. Yeah, too right. By starting with a gift, we begin to change the mental state of living beings, after which we resolve to change them until they attain the truth. At the outset, we should always make use of free giving. This is why the first of the 6 paramitas is the dana paramita. The bigness or smallness of mind is beyond measurement, and the bigness or smallness of things is also beyond measurement. But there are times when mind changes things, and there is free giving in which things change mind. That's good. Kind speech means, when meeting living beings, first of all, to feel compassion for them and to offer caring and loving words. Broadly, it is there being no rude or bad words. In secular societies, there are polite customs of asking others if they are well. In Buddhism, there are the words, take good care of yourself. And there is the disciples' greeting, how are you? Okay, some notes on the translation. Speaking with the feeling of compassion for living beings as if they were babies is kind speech. Quotation from Chinese text. We should praise those who have virtue and should pity those who lack virtue. Through love of kind speech is gradually nurtured. Thus, kind speech, which is ordinarily neither recognized nor experienced, manifests itself before us. While the present body and life exist, we should enjoy kind speech, and we will not regress or deviate through many ages and many lives. Whether in defeating adversaries or in promoting harmony among gentlefolk, kind speech is fundamental. To hear kind speech spoken to us directly makes the face happy and the mind joyful. To hear kind speech indirectly etches an impression in the heart and in the soul. Soul? What's a soul, Dōgen? Remember, kind speech arises from a loving mind, and the seed of a loving mind is compassion. We should learn that kind speech has the power to turn around the heavens. It is not merely the praise of ability. Great. Helpful conduct means utilizing skillful means to benefit living beings, high or low. For example, by looking into the distant and near future and employing expedient methods to benefit them. People have taken pity on stricken turtles and taken care of sick sparrows. Absolutely. When they saw the stricken turtle and the sick sparrow, they did not seek any reward from the turtle and the sparrow. They were motivated solely by helpful conduct itself. Stupid people think that if we put the benefit of others first, our own benefit will be eliminated. This is not true. Helpful conduct is the whole Dharma. It universally benefits self and others. The man of the past who bound his hair 3 times in the course of one bath and who spat out his food 3 times in the course of one meal solely had a mind to help others. Who was that? Chinese history Shiki says that there was a king called Shuko, appointed his son Hakunin as a district governor. Shuko told his son, "If 3 guests come while I am taking a bath, I would bind my hair 3 times to meet them, and if 3 guests came while I was eating, I would stop eating 3 times to meet them." Okay. There was never a question that he might not teach them just because they were people of a foreign land. So we should benefit friends and foes equally, and we should benefit ourselves and others alike. If we realize this state of mind, the truth that helpful conduct naturally neither regresses nor deviates will be helpfully enacted even in grass, trees, wind and water. We should solely endeavour to save the foolish. Sometimes the foolish don't want saving. Cooperation means not being contrary. It is not being contrary to oneself and not being contrary to others. For example, the human Tathagata identified himself with humanity. Judging with this identification with the human world, we can suppose that he might identify himself with other worlds. When we know cooperation, self and others are oneness. The proverbial harps, poems and sake make friends with people, make friends with celestial gods, and make friends with earthly spirits. The Taoist text Gosha Inzui says that harps, poems and sake are a hermit's 3 friends. Master Dōgen picks up the sentence and uses it to express the principles of mutual agreement between subject and object and identity of subject and object. Harps, poems and sake. Sounds good, bring it on. At the same time, there is a principle that people make friends with harps, poems and sake, and that harps, poems and sake make friends with harps, poems and sake, that people make friends with people, and celestial gods make friends with celestial gods, and that earthly spirits make friends with earthly spirits. This is the learning of cooperation. The task of cooperation means, for example, concrete behavior, a dignified attitude, and a real situation. There may be a principle of, after letting others identify with us, then there may be a principle of, after letting others identify with us, then letting ourselves identify with others. The relations between self and others are depending on the occasion without limit. He means relationships. It's the American. The relationships between self and others are depending on the others without limit. Kanshi says, it's the name of a Chinese Taoist text in 24 volumes attributed to Kanshū. Kanshi says, the sea does not refuse water, therefore it is able to realize its greatness. Mountains do not refuse earth, therefore they are able to realize their height. Enlightened rulers do not hate people, therefore they are able to realize a large following. Remember, the sea not refusing water is cooperation. Remember also that water has the virtue of not refusing the sea. For this reason it is possible for water to come together to form the sea, and for the earth to pile up to form mountains. We can think to ourselves that because the sea does not refuse the sea, it realizes the sea and realizes greatness. And because mountains do not refuse mountains, they realize mountains and realize height. Because enlightened rulers do not hate people, they realize a large following. A large following means a nation. An enlightened ruler may mean an emperor. Emperors do not hate the people. They do not hate the people, but that does mean that there is no reward and punishment. Even if there is reward and punishment, there is no hatred for the people. In ancient times, when people were unaffected, nations were without reward and punishment, at least inasmuch as the reward and punishment of those days were different from those of today. Even today, there may be people who seek the truth with no expectation of reward, but this is beyond the thinking of stupid men and women. Because enlightened rulers are enlightened, they do not hate people. Although people always have the will to form a nation and to find an enlightened ruler, few completely understand the truth of an enlightened ruler being an enlightened ruler. Therefore, they are glad simply not to be hated by the enlightened ruler, while never recognizing that they themselves do not hate the enlightened ruler. Thus, the truth of cooperation exists both for enlightened rulers and for ignorant people. And this is why cooperation is the conduct and the vow of a bodhisattva. We should face all things only with gentle faces. Oh, that's nice. Because these 4 elements of sociability are each equipped with 4 elements of sociability, they may be 16 elements of sociability. Shōbōgenzō Bodaisatta-Shishobo, written on the 5th day of the 5th lunar month in the 4th year of Ninji, 1243, by a monk who went into Sung China and received the transmission of the Dharma, Shramana Dōgen. Great. Thanks for listening.